So recently, this happened to my camera. It was on the tripod and I was taking it off and my attention went elsewhere, it fell from my hand, and bam, the screen shattered and the LCD display and the hinge on it was busted. Sent it back to Canon. Not back to Canon, well, I sent it to Canon. I tell them, hey, this is the issue, so it's actually right now with Canon being repaired. In the meantime though, this just literally arrived a moment ago. I've been meaning to try out a full frame beast of a camera, and I decided I was gonna go ahead and rent the Sony A7C, A7 Charlie. Guys, welcome. My name is Belal Khan, coming at you from Space City, aka Houston. I'm a marketer by profession, media by passion, and the whole purpose of this channel is to inspire you to make your ideas real using digital media. The whole purpose of this video is to kind of lay out certain things that I'm hoping to do with this camera. I have a lot of questions about Sony A7C. A lot of questions that I didn't seem to find any answers to on the internet, on YouTube and things like that. So I figured, let me go ahead and make that exploration and share with you what I found. Now, the following are questions that I have. Maybe you have some other questions too. So one of the questions I have is like, okay, and I've written down these things for myself, and I'm hoping to add to this based on the comments in this video. So one of the amazing things about the A7C, the digital stabilization using Catalyst browse, which is done through the gyroscopic data that the camera itself is able to record. If I were to use a native E-mount lens, such as this, well, some of you might recognize this, but this right here is your Sony 16 to 35, oh, not 65, 16 to 55, 16 to 50 optically image stabilized crop sensor lens, usually used with the Sony A6400 as well as the A6600, A65, you know, the A6000 series of cameras. So that's what this guy is used for. If I were to use it on the A7C, would it work? Number one. Number two, if I stabilize it, would the crop in that case then be completely irrelevant? For EF lenses, starting with the Sigma, I have a Metabones adapter for the E-mount. So the question now is, would Catalyst browse and would the gyroscopic data be captured using, well, for one, can I use it to stabilize EF lenses, Sigma Art series, as well as using it at Metabones. I also have ordered the MC11 adapter for the Sony E-mount, which should be arriving sometime this week. So I'll probably be testing that out. So a lot of the questions that I have are regarding Catalyst browse and image stabilization on the A7C and whether or not it would work. So now the other question though is, would the MC11, what are the impairments to autofocus? Whenever you adapt a non-native lens, like for example this one right here, one of my favorite lenses that I use is the 16 or 11 to 16 from Tokina. This was great on a Micro Four Thirds camera. This was great on the Canon EOS M6 Mark II. I've seen people record videos using this on the Sony A6000 series. Again, applying the same logic, would it capture gyroscopic data using this lens, either through Metabones or the MC11? But at the same time, if I adapt a Sigma lens using the MC11, because I know using this Metabones, I don't capture, it's not able to do continuous autofocus. If I were to do with the Sigma MC11, would I capture continuous autofocus that is reliable? I've seen videos of people doing it on the A6000 series, but what about on this? Same thing with this. If I were to use a Tokina lens versus a Canon lens, how reliable would the autofocus be? So these are all questions I'm looking to explore over the next couple of weeks with this, exciting little camera that I've been really looking forward to trying out. Depending on the results of these three things, and the third thing will be, its low light capability. Now, this is a full frame camera, so low light I know it's going to be better. Most likely it's going to be better than either the GH5 as well as the M6 Mark II, which is with Canon right now for repairs. But the thing that really disappointed me after, playing around with the A6400 that my friend and client has when I was up in Dallas. And if you're curious to see the results of that video, I'm going to link it up in the thing on YouTube here. But the thing that disappointed me about the Sony A6400, when you are going into the higher ISOs, and I know Sony is known for applying an internal noise reduction. Almost every camera does it, right? Even Canon does it, but you have the option of turning it down or maybe even turning it off. I know the Sony, the GH5, I think does it, but you could, again, you have the option to play with it. I know with the A6400 with the Sony, when I had done the high ISO test, the higher that I went, the more smeary and more muddy the footage looked, especially in the details. No doubt the image quality was sharp because it was taking a 6K image and it was bringing it down to a 4K image on the A6400, and I believe it does something similar here if I'm not mistaken. It's taking a 6K image and is scaling it down to 4K. So the image that I'm going to be getting hopefully is going to be a very clean, very sharp image. But the thing that is of most concern to me is up to 12,800, even 25,000 ISO, 25,600, something like that, does the image get smeary or not? Because I don't like that. In fact, I want to be able to control when the noise reduction happens through post-editing. I don't like the camera doing the noise reduction for me because it just looks smeary. I am looking at this as a camera that I can use for casual purposes, for vlogging, for capturing family moments, and even maybe taking some photos with it. And the key attractiveness is this portable size. Just look how small this thing is. It's tiny, right? Like, take the palm of my hand, and it literally just fits within the palm of my hand. Granted, it's a little thicker than I had anticipated, but it's tiny. It's almost exactly the same size as my Canon EOS M6 Mark II. So in terms of it being like a casual recorder where I can just kind of drop this in my bag, and the thing that's always a little frustrating for me, especially when it comes to recording, like capturing or like taking the camera with me, whether it's when I'm traveling on a trip with family and stuff like that, is the height of the camera, right? The moment it gets like this high, which with a viewfinder and whatnot, like the GH5, I have an issue with. It's like I put it in, I'll take my GH5 for example, I'll put it in my bag, but it's because it's so clunky, it becomes cumbersome to take it out of my bag. And just to kind of give you an example of what kind of bag I'm using, this here is my everyday carry bag, right? Just it's a shoulder sling. It's got two small pockets in the front and one on the shoulder. It's got a regular thing on here that I put like a notebook or whatever, and then all of my small accessories, usually my camera, goes in here. And it's normally with the M6 Mark II, it's easy. I just slide it in, pull it out. I can even throw in a small tripod and maybe even a shotgun microphone. But for whatever reason with the GH5, it becomes a challenge because it's thicker than this, and the height of it, because when I put the camera in the bag, what I do is I'll do this and it'll go like this, right? Now I can't put it like this because I usually keep the lens on it. Now if I were to make it slick, right, make it less space saving, then I have to take the lens off, and I don't want to do that. And so as a result, it becomes really thick. And so the lower the height of the camera, the easier it is to fit it in my bag. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to in terms of using this, just to grab and go, throw in my bag kind of thing. And it seems like it might be useful in that regard. So I have a couple of weeks, hopefully plan a couple of trips here locally with the family to see how this works out. But the real question though is, when it comes to those low light settings, low light situations, is the footage gonna be muddy? Is it gonna be smeary in those at anything at 3200 or 6400 and beyond. I don't get that with the Canon, which is great. I don't get that with the GH5, which is great. I did get that with the Sony A6400, which was disappointing. To me, that doesn't make it's a trade-off, which I don't like. I don't like the look of a muddy smeary footage. So yeah, these are the three things that I am most interested in. But at the same time, I am curious to know what questions you might have about this camera. What would you like me to explore in these next couple of weeks that might be of value for you? So at the end of the day, that's going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not I would actually, go ahead and purchase this. And but I'm excited, regardless of what the end result is. I'm excited for these next couple of weeks going into the new year, 2021. Hopefully, it's going to be awesome. I mean, 2020 kind of set a little benchmark. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.